All right. Well, for all of you who've been at either of the first two summit meetings, thank you for coming back. For those who are joining for the first time, and a special welcome. We really appreciate your participation. We are designed to be a means to share knowledge between roundtables so that we can share good ideas, best practices, and help each other out with sustainability issues. I'm Mike Kirshner. I am kind of a roundtable junkie. I belong to 4 of them. I am on the board of the Congress and have the fun, actually I enjoy the job of putting these summits together. We're going to put everyone on mute so we don't have background noise. Probably Mike, if you can handle that, since you've got the controls.
Done.
And as we were just saying on the chat button, please turn it on at the bottom of your Zoom window. In the to line, make sure it reads everyone. And if you haven't already told us which roundtable or roundtables you're affiliated with, we would appreciate that. We have a poll tonight, 5 questions that kind of follows up on the poll we asked at the second summit, kind of drilling down for a little more information. So Mike, if you can make the poll go live.
It's live.
You can take a minute or so and let people respond to the poll. After that, we will introduce Carol and get on with the main portion of tonight's program. Mike, if you let me know when you've got most of the responses in, we'll get started with the program.
I've got 2.
All right, that's a start.
Come on, Rosemary, get with it.
We are finally getting a little bit of rain out here in southwestern Virginia. And so on occasion, there may be a thunderclap, which we're happy to have since it's been so dry for the last 3 weeks. How are the responses coming in now, Mike?
11 of 19.
All right. I know the 5th question might slow people down in terms of typing in any other potential problematic issues facing their...
We're pretty consistent on that one.
Getting no's?
So far, that's all I've got.
Well, let's go ahead. Tonight's featured speaker is Carol Van Ornum of the Twin Cities Roundtable. She graduated from the University of Minnesota with a degree in journalism. I don't know, those of you who attended a couple of weeks ago might remember that Kim also started out as a journalist. So we might be starting a trend here in our summits. She worked at the Minneapolis Star Tribune. She then worked for one of the co-owners of the Minnesota Vikings. After that, she worked for the retired CEO of Cargill. And when he passed away, she is now working for his foundation. Carol has been the secretary and treasurer of the Twin Cities Roundtable for about 10 years. In addition, she has a hobby of sewing her own Civil War clothing and dressing up with every opportunity that she has. So first of all, Carol, thank you for agreeing to speak tonight.
My pleasure.
And first question for you is, do you have any favorite Civil War connection?
I do. My great-grandfather times 4 his name was Roswell King. He founded the town of Roswell, Georgia, which is a northern Atlanta suburb. He ran a textile mill there, which as Sherman went through Roswell, they discovered it and burned it down and arrested the 400 women and children workers there, shipped them up north. So it's quite a story. He was not a nice man, but
he's still your ancestor.
yes. And he had 9 grandchildren, and all but one they all fought for the Confederacy.
Oh. And yet you live in the Twin Cities.
Yes.
All right. Can you tell us a little about the Twin Cities Roundtable?
Sure.
What your makeup is, and
Pardon me?
what your makeup is, how many members you have, and
Sure.
what kind of meetings you have, and the like.
Okay. The Twin Cities Civil War Roundtable is the Minneapolis, St. Paul cities and the surrounding suburbs. We are one of 10 roundtables in the state of Minnesota. We're the largest. We've got a membership of about 140, which is 2/3 men, 1/3 women, and 2 students. We've been in existence for over 50 years. We meet the 3rd Tuesday of every month from September to May. We take the month of April off for an annual symposium. Our format is a social hour, dinner, and then the speaker. So we have an endowment fund. We give to the Minnesota Historical Society History Days, the competition. We give a prize of $100 for the best essay or whatever they produce. And then the most recent funding that we did was we purchased a painting, which one of our members, his name is David Geister. He's a phenomenal painter, and he did a large painting of the first Minnesota charge at Plum Run Cemetery Ridge at Gettysburg. So we purchased that from him. It's quite a large painting, and we donated it to the Minnesota Military Museum, which is located at Camp Ripley in Little Falls, Minnesota. So those are the kinds of things we do. We, like Kim said last summit, they go on field trips and they're surrounded by battlefields, but in Minnesota, we don't really have that, and you can only talk about the Dakota Sioux Uprising, so much. So every couple years, we try to take a bus trip down south, and we usually partner with the first Minnesota reenactors to do that. So we have, and this I think is what is unique about us. And I have to take a step back. In 2017, when they had the first Congress seminar, and Kim, you were one of the hosts for that. Is that right? Yep. So I went there, and toward the end of the seminar, we all stood up and told what our dues were. And when I stood up and told what our dues were, there were audible gasps in the audience, because we have probably the highest dues in the country. Our individual dues are 55, family is 75, and student is 10. But there is a good reason for that. Like I said, we don't have the battlefields around to tour or to even draw speakers from. So we have to fly in all of our speakers, and we pay their airfare, we put them up in a hotel, we pay any expenses, plus a $100 honorarium. And thank goodness, we have used the Congress's speaker registry a lot. It's very helpful. But our speakers then are really high quality. And because of that, the attendance at our meetings, we've got 140 members, we will get between 80 and 100 attendees at each meeting. I kind of think that our philosophy, although it's never been said out loud, that when you have to pay for something, you value what you get a lot more. So I think with the high dues and the dinner that people have to purchase, they are really invested in coming there and appreciating what we have. And that also puts an additional expectation on the board that, we have to step up and provide our members with really good speakers. So it works for us.
It sounds pretty remarkable to have about a 2/3 yield at each meeting.
Yep, even in the winter.
And where are you located in the Twin Cities? Are you within walking distance of all of your members, or?
Oh, no.
Like rush hour?
Yeah, we go to the Knights of Columbus Event Center, which is in Bloomington. It's just a little ways from the Mall of America, in the middle of a freeway system, but everybody gets there eventually.
So, you do have rush hour traffic that people fight their way through, and you still get 2/3 at a meeting.
Yes. Yeah.
Besides the dues, do you have any other fundraising in the course of a year?
Only we have a book raffle at each meeting, and those proceeds go into our endowment fund. But every amount of dues that comes in goes out to speaker expenses. So we just break even, and we keep our heads above water on that.
And what is your annual turnover of your membership?
It stays pretty steady. We have, we'll gain or we'll lose 14 members or so, and we'll gain 14 members. And I was thinking about that today, about the average age of people, because that's one of our issues, is the aging population in our membership. And I've never taken a poll on how old are you. I don't think that would be very considerate, but if it were that the 14 people that we lose are older and the 14 people we gain are 60-ish, I think that would be a good thing.
Do you have a sense of how many people say are under 60, or what percentage?
I would agree with the gentleman earlier that maybe 25% or so are under 60.
Okay. That's a pretty good percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about other forms of diversity? Non-whites, men versus women?
Well, I'm, how do you say it? We have no diversity as far as people of color. We do have a lot of single women though,
Okay.
which, they're not they're not the wives of the men members, but they come on their own. So I think that's a good thing.
So when COVID hit, how did that affect your roundtable?
Oh, well, we had to cancel our March meeting, our April symposium, and the May annual meeting, which was kind of tricky because that's when everyone gets to approve the treasurer report and the annual minutes, and I take their proxy, so that we have a quorum. So I ended up mailing all of that out, and I got a good response back. So that was good. We decided, and we hadn't done this yet, was to create a newsletter, monthly newsletter, and that's gone out since then. And people have responded well to that. We struggled over this early summer on whether we were going to have a September meeting. So I sent out a poll, and about half our members responded. There were 40 that said, no, I'm not coming. there were about 25 that said, yes, please, can we have an in-person meeting? And then there were some maybes. So we decided if we could get 20 people that would be willing to come, you know, we're going to give it to them. So then our September speaker said, I'm not coming. And I think he was coming from Washington because his wife was she had health issues. So he didn't want to come.
State or Washington, D.C.?
State.
Huh?
I think state. And this was before the Congress had all of these wonderful YouTubes, you know, available to people. We discovered that our speaker was both on YouTube and C-SPAN for his exact presentation he was giving us. So we made a deal with him that if we could broadcast his C-SPAN on a screen at the in-person meeting, send the link out to all the people sitting at home, that if I collected the questions for the Q&A, which is always so important, would he be able to answer them, you know, in a thoughtful manner? And he agreed to do that. So that's what we're doing for September. I have no idea what's going to happen in October.
Well, coming to the questions, is he going to, are you sending him the questions ahead of time, or will he be answering those live at the dinner meeting?
It will be post-meeting, afterwards.
Post-meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you say, you have no idea what's going to happen, but does your membership seem pretty happy with that way of allowing some people to show up in person and others to at least view a C-SPAN at home?
I think so. I don't know how many people will really view it from their homes, you know, but that's up to them. And everyone's really respectful about, you know, if you don't want to come, you don't have to. So we're doing the best we can.
When you say you have no idea about October, are you considering doing something similar or trying a Zoom meeting, or?
Well, I read something that Mike Mobius had given me about David Dixon, who is our October speaker, talking about, you know, you might have to go on to video situation. So, you know, it might be that David doesn't want to come either. So we'll see how that goes.
And you said you meet in a Knights of Columbus. Are you confident that will be open in September?
Yes, they're very good to us, and they will social distance us, and, you know, very clean and all that. The other thing I want to say is that we did offer for our high dues a $10 discount to everybody. So I've had a lot of people sign up or renew their memberships.
At a 10%?
No, $10.
$10.
Mm.
So we have a few questions that have come in on the chat. Do you have a genealogy committee in your roundtable?
No, we do not. But we do have on our website, and I just want to say that after I attended the 2017 Congress seminar on how to improve your website, your roundtable, I went back and had our website redesigned, and you have to check it out, because I've heard, and I think too, that it's one of the most beautiful websites for the Civil War roundtables around. But we do have a page on that website where if you have, you know, ancestry information, send it and we'll post it.
Comment from Scott on the same topic is they partner with their local history center, which has great genealogy resources. So there's an idea to share.
Sure.
Kim was asking about how you do dinner. You say you meet at a Knights of Columbus. Do they prepare the meal for you? Is it the same meal meeting after meeting?
We offer people 3 choices, red meat, white meat or fish, and a vegetarian. Everything comes with a salad, the main entree, rolls and butter and coffee and dessert. So it's a huge meal, and they serve it.
And it's not a real restaurant, but a large meeting hall,
Yes, yes.
which actually sounds like it might work well in the time of COVID for a group.
Well, I don't know, yeah, at least for the 25 people that are going to attend, yes.
Michael Block is wondering, do you bundle your speakers with other roundtables in Minnesota?
You know, we've talked a lot about that, doing that, but we don't. And the other roundtables are kind of far away. Rochester, which is an hour and 15 minutes. Um, Moorhead, Litchfield, they're all pretty far away. And they don't offer the same kind of benefits that we do to the speakers. So I guess we would be taking on the brunt of the expenses if we were to do that. So just really, we haven't had that coordination yet.
Regarding the speakers, Kim is wondering if you went to Zoom, if you would then no longer have to pay travel expenses for speakers.
Well, but there's nothing better than an in-person speaker. I mean, don't you agree with that? And the other thing about Zoom is we haven't tried it yet. You know what? That's one question or concern that I have with all of you is that, you know, we do have that aging population. How are you going to teach them how to install the app on their computer? And have other people had the experience that it's hard or easy, or we really haven't explored that yet.
Sounds like your roundtable really values the in-person presence, both
Yeah.
with the speaker and with your membership as well.
Yeah.
And again, getting a yield of about 2/3 at each meeting, you know, speaks volumes.
Mm-hmm.
A question that probably doesn't apply to you. If you did do a Zoom meeting and you had a virtual speaker, would you still provide them some sort of honorarium, even if you weren't paying travel expenses? I see Rich is answering the question vigorously.
I think so. I mean, we're doing, for our September speaker, we offered to give him the honorarium if he would answer our questions.
Fair enough. Want to circle back to something that also sounds a bit unique. Even though you don't bundle your speakers with other roundtables, it sounds like you do have a once-a-year event where you coordinate with the 9 other roundtables. Can you?
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. So since about 1996, we have been having an annual symposium, and it's been headed up by a member by the name of Stephen Osman, who is retired now, but the last 2 years of his work, he was the chief historian at the Minnesota Historical Society. Prior to that, the director of the historic Fort Snelling. And so he's kind of always spearheaded this event. It's an all-day event. It goes from 9 to 3 in the afternoon, and it is open to the public for a very nominal fee. So that is a way that we've gotten we've gotten some new members because of that. We have this year we had to cancel it, but the next time we do give it, it's going to be the same program, and that is the Civil War in Context, which is about religion and faith in the Civil War, legislating the soldier vote, Minnesota's lesser known generals, technology in the Civil War, and financing the Civil War and the fallout in Minnesota. The previous year, we had women in the Civil War, and that was really fun. We had a woman come and talk about prostitution in the Civil War. So, you know, every year it's a different subject. And right now, or we had been having it at the historic Fort Snelling, but they're closed for remodeling. So while their auditorium held 300, and during the sesquicentennial, we got at least 200 people to attend. Now it's out in Litchfield, which is about an hour and a half west, and the signups for this last April were considerably less, but
Mhm.
if you want to go, you'll go.
And you say it is a source of new members for you.
Yes, it is. Yep. And we do our very best to advertise it in all parts of the town, just to get everybody out there.
And you mentioned that you do have an endowment, and you help sponsor a contest for student members.
Yes, that's the History Day. I think somebody had talked about that before, about possibly, checking out your local historical societies for that. But I think it's a national event. And we usually send one judge from our roundtable to participate. And if there is a winner, I think there's a junior and senior level. Whoever wins, we invite them to one of our dinners.
Now, are you picking up any members from that initiative?
No.
Okay. Last week, Kim spoke a bit about local preservation efforts that the Bull Run Roundtable is engaged in. Do you have opportunities for preservation in the Twin Cities?
Does that have to do with the monuments and things?
Well, in general, preserving history in one form or another related to the Civil War.
Okay, well, what I have to say about that is kind of a combination of preservation and the controversy going on. So the monuments that we have around here are all Minnesota, rah, rah, everybody likes them. So there's no controversy with that. What we do have, though, is our state capitol in St. Paul was built in 1905 by Civil War veterans. So it's a beautiful building, and if you ever come here, you should look at it, take a tour. It's got a lot of statues like William Colville, who led the charge at Gettysburg. It's got a lot of artifacts under glass. And a lot of painting. It's just a beautiful building. And in the governor's reception room, which is this really tall, big room, there are 8 paintings. And these paintings are like over 6 feet tall and over 8 feet wide. They're huge. And one of them, in fact, is a world-renowned painting by Howard Pyle. Is that right? I just want to check my notes. Yes, Howard Pyle, and it was the Battle of Nashville. And it is a gorgeous painting. It's considered to be one of the most detailed, realistic, beautiful paintings. So if you ever get a chance to Google it, take a look at it. Other paintings they're all mostly about Minnesota troops, the Gettysburg, Corinth, and other places like that. So our previous governor, Mark Dayton, he was not a battle guy. It didn't matter what war, he just did not like battles, and so he wanted to remove them all. And that would have been devastating to everybody. So they had a big public hearing about it, and some of our members were present. And it turned out that the Minnesota Historical Society board had the unanimous decision making to keep all the paintings, at which point Governor Dayton stormed out of the room. But we got to keep the paintings. However, there were 2 paintings that were questionable. One of them was it was called Father Hennepin at the Falls of St. Anthony. And it depicts this Father Hennepin standing over the Native Americans, kind of giving them a blessing, which was not historically accurate because he was actually captive by the Indians. And in addition to that, the Native American attire was incorrect. They had a bare-breasted woman there, so that was a bad one. And the other painting was the Treaty of Traverse des Sioux, which depicted the signing of the treaty where the government and the Sioux Nation signed this treaty, which in reality screwed them out of a lot of money. So those two paintings, they decided, and this is to the governor's credit, to just be moved to a gallery off to the side with better interpretive description of what they were all about. So that was good. That lasted for a few years. Now we have a new governor and lieutenant governor, and the lieutenant governor, Peggy Flanagan, is from the Ojibwe tribe, and she wants everything removed. She wants to replace it with artwork that is more representative of the diverse population of Minnesota. But she's also the chair of the Capital Arts Commission. So she says she's going to hold public hearings, and we hope she does, but that's where it stands right now. Nothing is really happening.
And will your roundtable be taking a position? And secondarily, are you a 501c3 organization, and will that tie your hands at all?
Well, I think that we'll just attend and voice our opinion. We can do that, can't we?
That is a open legal question.
Oh.
But that is something that roundtables with 501c3 status need to take into account.
Yes.
There seems to be a little bit of a loophole with the IRS in allowing you to do a little bit of lobbying, or
Okay.
either directly or soliciting others to take a position. But,
Okay.
It's an issue to give some thought to.
Okay.
Rich Jankowski was asking, when is the symposium? I think you said that was in April each year.
Yes, I think it's the first Saturday in April.
Okay. And Kim reports that the two largest counties in the Bull Run area have an annual history day with speakers, and that they put a booth there at that history day with info on the roundtable, and have picked up members that way.
Ah.
Okay.
Good idea.
And Mike reports that History Day is an annual event sponsored by different organizations. And in Washington State, it happens to be the Department of Education.
Okay.
And then Steve Gonzell on the 501c3 issue says you must limit your lobbying, but some is allowed.
Okay.
Perhaps as a practical matter, the IRS won't pursue you too vigorously unless somebody starts to complain. Any other questions for Carol? If not, Mike, can you report on the poll results?
I think Rich is the guy to do that.
Rich, would you report on the poll results?
Sure. Could you read the first question, Mike? I didn't get down the questions. I just got the results. Oh, you have that?
Because
I was muted. Here we go.
Because of the glitch with Zoom, I actually don't get to see the poll after.
So here it is. How much of a threat to the future and sustainability of your Civil War Roundtable is COVID?
The second choice got 69%.
Okay.
True.
And the other two were split between the first and the third. So
And
So the
number two is how much of a threat to the future and sustainability of your roundtable is the issue of memorials and flags?
Same thing there. The second got 38% and the third got 31%. And then the first was 13 and 19. So it's somewhat of a concern, it sounds like, to the membership.
The second answer is actually a significant concern, but
Okay,
not
right.
but not an existential threat.
Right. Okay.
Number three, how much of a threat to the future and sustainability of your roundtable is the issue of aging out?
Second choice got 50%.
That's another significant concern.
Right.
And number four is how much of a threat to the future and sustainability of your roundtable is lack of diversity in your membership?
Right. Answer number three got 50% and answer number two got 31%.
That's right. So the majority is minor concern. And number five, are there any other issues that threaten the future and sustainability of your roundtable? If so, please identify and classify them on the chat line, either to everyone or in private chat to me. Please use the 4 classifications used above.
94% said no.
Yes, and that's 6% that said,
Right.
or one person that said yes.
Okay. But they didn't post what their problem was.
They did or
Did they?
did not?
I don't know. Did you get it, Mike? I didn't see it on the chat room.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't think it was possible.
Right. Okay.
Coming back to the aging question, the third one, you said 50% gave answers
50%.
of significant
Yeah.
concern. What were the
Yeah,
other?
that's a major concern. Yeah. More than the COVID.
And what was the other split? What did number 1 and number 3 and number 4?
Number one got 38%. Number three got 13%, and nothing for number four.
I'm sorry, what was number 1?
38%.
Okay.
So between the first two, so it is a concern.
Okay. Well, thanks to everyone for answering that. We will we'll put that information to good use. As we wrap up, we expect to have another summit. Not been scheduled yet. If there are topics that anyone would like to have us address at another summit, please contact Rich Jankowski at his email, which I will share. Can I share? Share screen. Oh, as we talk about every meeting, we have Team CWRT on our part of our Facebook group where we hope to have in-depth discussions about some of the issues we just talked about. COVID and aging out sound like they are of particular concern, but memorials and flags, as well as diversity. We have 80 members in Team CWRT already. If you haven't joined, please do. It's about to get active with Rich in the near future starting a discussion on the aging out issue and different ways roundtables might address it. And we've heard a couple of ideas tonight of how to try to reach out to younger groups and other groups to increase membership. Along the same lines, we have a YouTube channel up and running now. We have about 160 members on that, or subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. In the future, this summit will find its way to that channel. The first 2 summits are already on the channel. Regarding contacting us, the lead email address to address issues, ideas for future topics for summit meetings, perhaps speakers for summit meetings, is the summit@cwrtcongress.org. When you send an email, if you could copy Rich and myself on it as a matter of convenience for us, we can stay contemporary with what's happening. And if you want to contact Rich or me directly, feel free to use our phone numbers. We are, as we say, kind of a information storehouse and clearinghouse. And if there are any sustainability or concerns, we would like to hear them, including from the person who said that they did have another sustainability concern. Any last thoughts or comments from anyone? You can unmute yourself if you do. If not, thank you very much for attending. We really appreciate your involvement and look forward to continue to grow the Congress and become a resource for more and more roundtables around the country.
Yeah, I was going to, before you exit, I will throw out and kind of reinforce the idea of, for Carol, of sharing speakers if you can. Milwaukee has shared with Chicago longer than I've been a member, and I'm one of those that's kind of between dirt and rock for membership length. But at any rate, what we have done with that is normally what they've done is speaker will come in, fly into Chicago, drive into Chicago, whatever. Chicago member brings them to Milwaukee. We have a Thursday night meeting, and then takes them back, and Chicago has a Friday night meeting. So we've been able to make that work logistically.
Mm-hmm.
Hour and a half, 2 hours worth of travel time each way. And what we've done with that is that then we just make an even split on the expenses. And I'm sure you could always talk to them about if you wanted to, each your own way on the honorariums or anything else like that. But it's one of those that it sounded like from what you were describing, you have at least a couple of them that are in that hour and a half range where it might be worth having the discussion.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, this is Steve Smith from Harrisburg. We have 4 members participating this evening. I wanted to thank Mike Movius and the Congress for leading the way and showing us what Zoom technology can do. We did feel that this COVID crisis was an existential threat to the future of our roundtable, which is 62 years old this year. However, having purchased a Zoom Pro account, we successfully used it for our annual business meeting in June and for our summer board meeting in July. In fact, we had better participation in our board meeting than we do during our live meetings because people who were out of town were able to participate either on their phone or on their laptop. So that's working very well. We've lined up speakers for the fall. We had lined up speakers who were going to speak live, but given the constraints under COVID, the September speaker has agreed to Zoom with us, and we anticipate that the other fall speakers will as well. So Zoom is not ideal, but it is a workable compromise. And if you haven't tried it, or if you have members who are reluctant to try it, you may be surprised. I noticed somebody in the chat forum tonight said you'd be surprised how many people already use Zoom either for church services or choir practice or homeowners association meetings. And on our very first attempt, we had 21 people participate in our June annual business meeting, including some of our eldest members, which was very surprising. And we didn't think we'd get more than 10 on our first at bat. So again, thanks to the CWRT Congress for showing us the way and teaching us to fight another way, and hopefully live to fight another day. Thank you.
Thank you for showing up, and thank you for your testimonial. And that's it. Part of exactly what our mission is. So, spread the word. Well, thanks again to everyone. We really appreciate your involvement and attendance, and look forward to seeing you at the next summit.